What's going on, everyone? Your friendly neighborhood fanboys are back in the flesh again after our 80th hiatus of the year. Hope everyone's doing well. We have just seen set photos from James Gunn's Superman. And this is causing quite a stir online. I think there's a pretty fair divide right now on what people like, what people don't like about the suit. We are going to be showing these set photos, so if you don't want any spoilers of the movie, click away now. Or just listen to the audio maybe if you want to hear us go through some prior suits and what we think of this one. If you want to take a sleep before this video, you should check these guys out.
Sleep better, anywhere, anytime, with Manta Sleep Masks. I like to bring my sleep mask literally everywhere with me, and so can you. Join Manta Sleep's Pro Nap movement today.
100% blackout for deeper sleep. Dream big with Manta Sound or Manta Pro. Accessorize with interchangeable eye cups to suit your sleeping needs.
Click the link in the description and use code FNF for 10% off your purchase.
Before we get into our thoughts on the new suit, though, let's just take a step back down memory lane a little bit, maybe.
I love going down memory lane.
The best of the lanes. And
Lois's cousin.
Exactly. Memory lane, Lois's cousin, yeah. So I like to understand new iterations of the suit. I think it's good to go back and kind of revisit the ones that we've already seen, at least in like modern adaptations. And by modern, I'm going to say from like Chris Reeve onwards kind of thing. So, I mean, starting off with Chris Reeve, I think it's the most classic suit. Obviously, there wasn't really much to it. It was just basic stretchy fabric and the logo, the trunks, of course, and the addition of the Superman symbol on the back of the cape, which we'll talk about after because James Gunn has done something similar with that.
I think that also comes from that era of when the superhero movies were more like campy and not like treated as like, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like literally just a guy in like a circus costume, which is like essentially what the first iteration of Superman was. With that being said, this is all going to tie forward in what we're talking about, but it was very simple. Like Chris Reeve, he went through a lot of training, and like there's training footage of him online for the first Superman movie. And he was a big dude. I think he was like 6'3", 6'4", and like, yeah, I think
trained with David Prowse.
Yeah.
Darth Vader himself.
Incredible. So he was a beast. And then unfortunately, the suit, as iconic as it is, kind of covered a lot of that up, which kind of sucks because the core of Superman is he's this otherworldly being. He's supposed to be this symbol of not only hope and strength, but power. Like he's supposed to be this powerful being, right? You're supposed to look at him and be like, exactly. And that's kind of what we were missing from that. Jumping forward a little bit, so the spiritual successor to Superman 2 was actually Superman Returns, Brandon Routh. That was Brandon Routh's first movie. They followed similar design language. They changed the S. They changed the colors. The red became kind of like a gross burgundy, love it or hate it. That suit, people don't really realize, was actually textured. We don't have our Brandon Routh statue with us right now, but the suit, the blue of the suit was actually textured. It was little S's, all kind of like
really, I didn't know that.
Pattern. Yeah,
pretty cool.
And that's kind of what sucks because like no one really does know that because it was so. I think the blue was a little too saturated. You kind of get lost in that. Yeah. They also went with not trunks, but almost like tighty whities, which was kind of hilarious. And like, love or hate the trunks or the tighty whities. Like, I'm personally not a huge fan of it. I think it works for the Chris Reeve era of that, you know, late 70s era, like we were talking about already, like golden age Superman kind of vibe. I think they just went a little too small with those ones. And Brandon Routh kind of went through the same thing. Like he's a big dude. Yeah, he's massive. I believe that suit was actually padded underneath as well, but they didn't give it any like musculature, like in the shape
like
of it.
Definition
wise, yeah. So that's why you kind of, you know, his physicality gets lost a little bit in that suit. But they fixed that with the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. He comes back as Kingdom Come Superman, which for those of you who don't know is like Superman at his peak power, and he's a little bit older. He's like mid 50s ish, maybe 60, and they gave him a fantastic suit. And at least symbol wise, it's pretty much the closest thing that we have to this new suit now, which is kind of like the borderless S, but his had the black in the middle like Kingdom Come, which is awesome. And then they gave him trunks, proper trunks this time, not tighty whities. And again, the fit of this suit was incredible. Like,
he looked great.
Yeah, musculature is defined. Like, he has a massive size. Like, he's just a very imposing presence in the suit. It's back to classic kind of red and blue aesthetic as well. I think our point, if you haven't caught on by now, is even if you don't like the design, I think fit and finish play a huge role in how a suit looks on screen.
Absolutely.
Right?
As we all know, we enjoy Snyder, well, at least the Snyder Superman.
Yeah.
Superman, and Henry Cavill played him perfectly from look to like acting. I just thought it was great, but specifically suit wise, I think so much thought went into it. Like, you can talk more about how the Kryptonian font and letter, calligraphy was like, I think mostly in the S, right? Or
I think it's laced throughout, to be honest, but
okay.
mainly there's a message.
Yeah.
There's a Joseph Campbell quote in the S in that Kryptonian strip that they created for that movie.
And it fits him so perfectly.
Yeah.
And everything from, like, you know, the arm guards to the boots to the cape, and just how everything fits together, even kind of like the belt area, how it kind of has those like
tapers in.
Yeah, just everything looks great. I think too, some people are like, oh, it's not blue enough, but I think that was just the color grade on the film, right?
Yeah, I think so. Let's start with the Man of Steel suit. Like, the Man of Steel suit, it was toned back color wise. So, like, if you go look at like the behind the scenes photos from the set and stuff like that, it is a pretty muted blue,
Like a darker blue, right?
yeah, darker blue. The reds are a little toned down as well, and then the yellow is like, you barely can even tell it's yellow in the S, and we've commented on that before in a prior video. But it was also the thinnest of the suits too, so it was most tapered to Henry Cavill's body at that time, which is cool. He looks like much more slender in that movie than he does in BVS, for example. But that's a design choice, and, you know, love it or hate it, like, you know, there's some diehard Superman fans that love the trunks, that love the simplified look, and that's cool. We like that too, but there was something to be said about Snyder going in and creating this like very alien suit that looks like it's, you know, it was created by the scout ship. Like, it's created to fit his person exactly. And the musculature, in our opinion, I would say, is like perfectly emphasizing the work that Henry put in to get to that level, and also making him look like this supernatural being that's, you know, constantly at his peak strength and is supposed to look like a god at the end of the day. BVS took that a step further. They bulked it up a little bit more, but they also brought the blues up, they brought the reds up, and then they did something cool with the muscle suit underneath was kind of like a chrome material, so when it shines through,
when it stretches,
when it stretches over that, you can kind of see the musculature even more.
That's sick.
But I think that's also representative of, like, you know, his point in that timeline too. Like, now he's kind of established, and now he's probably stronger than he was in Man of Steel, so it kind of makes sense. And then in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and even in the theatrical cut, the suit's pretty much the same as BVS, but they thinned it down a little bit more. Which is cool. It's still a great vibe. And then, of course,
I think too, with the story as well, like, he's obviously weaker.
Yeah,
he's coming
he's
back
been
to
dead.
later. Yeah. So,
and then obviously, you know, the charcoal and black suit that we get in Zack Snyder's Justice League is also just like
so sick.
fantastic.
Love me the black suit.
100%. And just the design cues of that suit too. At the end of the day, though, going back to our main point here, the fit and the finish of those suits is spot on. Like, you rarely ever see creases in the suit. Not that there can't be creases and stuff like that. There are moments where you see that, especially in like the arms and blah blah blah.
Because you won't be able to move if not.
You won't.
It's as simple as that.
Exactly. Yeah, and you don't want to make it like unrealistic in that sense. Like, you know, for example, we love the Spider-Man movies, the new ones, but like, you can tell that they smooth everything over in CG because there's no crinkles or creases like there were in the Raimi ones or the Matt Webb ones, right? Let's comment on Hecklin too, because we're forgetting a key aspect of this.
True.
Tyler Hecklin, Superman from the CW. This, weirdly enough, is actually the closest suit, at least in his first appearance CW, to the Gunn one that we have. Even, like, pretty much just in material aspects, and in his first iteration suit as well, there was a lot of line work on the suit like we see in Gunn's. as opposed to musculature. And when that came out, I was not really a fan of it, but seeing it moving around and in action, I actually grew to like it a little bit because it was different. And I think that's why I do like the gun suit now, because it's different, right? And then Hecklin went through other iterations. We had like a Fleischer, like 40s look suit that you see in a flashback.
I think he had a black suit as well too, right?
Yeah, he had the black suit at one point in the CW, which is basically just his first appearance look, just blackened. And I think they even gave him a collar, actually, which is like,
I actually liked that. I thought
liked
it was
it too.
cool, yeah.
yeah, and like even down to the material, like it looks very similar to the gun material, just darker, obviously. And then like all the line work, like he had line work on his shoulders and stuff like that too. And then they gave him like that V taper, like we see on the gun suit too, and it works. I caught myself thinking like, oh, I hate that they didn't give him muscles in the gun suit, blah blah blah. But then I remembered that one, and I'm like, oh, I kind of liked that one.
Yeah, caught yourself.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And then he went through 2 other iterations. He's literally had the most suits out of any of the on-screen Supermen ever. He has one for the season 1 of Superman and Lois as well, which is pretty bulky, but still toned down on the muscles. And then season 2 onwards, they gave him a lot more defined musculature, but same basic kind of style of suit, which is great. At the end of the day, commonalities between all those suits, they fit perfectly.
Yeah.
They fit perfectly. They were
Yeah.
perfectly tailored. Like even when he was hunched over and stuff, like there wasn't excess baggage or like stuff like crinkling where it shouldn't. It looked really good. So with that being said, the gun suit. So we're looking at the back right now. Back of the suit, I would say, is cool. They're giving it the Chris Reeve S on the back as well, the yellow S.
I don't mind that.
No, I don't mind it either.
I'm like indifferent to it. It doesn't really
Exactly,
matter to
yeah. I
me.
don't care either way kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see because it's different at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And also the cape is perfect length in my opinion
Yeah.
too. It's not dragging, but it's also not like the Batman like toy cape.
Words of his knees. Like, yeah.
Literally. It's not a Shazam cape. And going on to the front of the suit now, like
Sorry, before we go on, I do like the way the like collar looks from the back as
from
well.
the back too, yeah, I agree. Collar in general is a point of contention for people who don't really know what the collar is or like haven't seen it like animated or in the books or anything
Didn't
like that.
Injustice have it too?
Injustice had the collar, but it was popularized in the New 52, which is very heavily, I would say, the biggest influence on the gun suit. Especially the line work and like touching on that line work too. It's actually nice seeing these close-up set photos of it because you can appreciate it more. Like the more and more I look at these, the more and more I like the overall design of the suit. I
The shoulder pads and stuff.
like the shoulder pads, like, but it's all like this line work. It stems right from his collar all the way around his shoulders, and then it's kind of like almost patchworked. And he kind of has like Cavill-esque gauntlets.
I was gonna say that looks very similar.
Yeah.
To...
But it's all the same material, I think, which is why that kind of gets lost a little bit. I do like the taper under his chest line to his abs and stuff like that, but it looks very like utilitarian, kind of like tactical almost.
Yeah, kind of like the Batman suit.
Yeah, like actually,
Yeah, it's like there's armor under there.
100%, and like even down to his legs, like he has like knee savers almost.
Yeah.
The thing that throws us off the most, and I think a lot of people just jump the gun, no pun intended, and say like, oh, the suit sucks, like the design sucks, like look at Cavill's compared to this, blah blah blah. Like they're two different suits. I do appreciate the design of the suit very much. I like the S logo. It's like My Adventures with Superman, like the cartoon. It's obviously very close to New 52. And then symbol-wise, it's obviously more in line with Kingdom Come, which is cool. So there's like a ton of elements just like smashed together, and I think it does work very well. Like the yellow belt is very Reeves with 2 red belt loops over top, and they didn't give him tighty whities. They gave him more like boxer brief style, which is better. I'm still not a massive fan of the trunks, but like at least it's not like
it could be worse.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
I don't mind the boots either.
no, I like the boots. It's just like, again, it's fit and finish. So like this is the biggest thing we have an issue with right now, which is why
It's like those crinkles right there. Like why?
everything. Like
It looks like he just threw on a leather jacket.
Exactly.
And that's what the feel is of it.
Exactly. And like you can tell he fills out the suit pretty well, but like the loose points, like right under the S here, like he's barely hunched over, and you can see this giant crease line. There's excess material like under like every crevice. And like in the photo that we reacted to on our last podcast where he's pulling up his boot in that official image that was released.
Yeah, that
I was like,
did not do him justice.
No, not at all. And like, especially in the shoulder areas, like it just looks like there's way too much excess material, which cheapens the suit. Like I've seen a lot of people on YouTube, like the past couple days, going after this, saying it looks like cosplay. And like, I think there is merit to that. Like, no disrespect to the costume designers whatsoever, but like if it fit better and it was a little tighter to him and there was less excess material while
Like
still
his muscles should be bulging out. Right?
exactly or it just looks like he's wearing like a sweater with lines on it, you know what I mean? So I think that is the biggest critique that I can say, but I think at the end of the day, if it's written well, and I'm sure David Cornsweet's going to give a fantastic performance.
And he looks great as Superman.
He does.
Like,
He looks
other than the
fantastic.
suit not fitting, he looks great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Although I must say, I kind of laughed. I saw another leaked set photo today, actually, of him in like Clark Kent get up. And
It looks like he has a wig on.
it looks like it's like pure like Gen Z, like
Broccoli hair.
yeah, like boy hair for like lack of a better term. But I also know what Gunn's going for too. He's like, I'm going to try and differentiate Clark from Superman as much as humanly possible this time around, which is cool. We've never seen it before.
I think another thing too, which I don't think it is, but I think with the Flash too, it was a Supergirl suit, but it was actually a stunt suit. I don't think this is the stunt suit, but it could be. So that's why it's more loose. I don't think so though, because you don't see anywhere to like attach wires or anything.
No harness points or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's also other images too of him and Mr. Terrific standing next to each other, like they're actually in a scene of just talking too. So I think this is the screen suit.
Yeah. I just know sometimes, you know, you see these set photos and the lighting's not what it should be. So
Absolutely.
we're obviously just being hard on it because this is what we're seeing. But like you said, man, I think if it's well written, like the action's good and we're like captivated by it, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, well, I didn't like the movie because his suit crinkled up.
No, exactly. Yeah. And again, it's like he's supposed to be a young Superman, like he's in the infancy of his career, so to speak, from what Gunn has said. So there is opportunity for him to get more suits, you know, the further and further down the line we get.
You might even get one in this movie, who knows?
Maybe,
like,
yeah,
you know,
who
end of
knows?
the movie, it might just be like, upgrade.
Yeah. And also color grade makes a huge difference too, right?
Yeah.
So like that first set image that Gunn said was shot all in camera. Just because it's shot all in camera doesn't mean they didn't do anything to it afterwards, right? So all the colors were much more muted, not a lot, but they were, and everything looked a little darker and a little more contrasty. So I'm sure we're going to get a little more definition and a little less saturation when the final movie comes out.
I would say overall, I think it's pretty decent. Like you said, just a fit. I know. Yeah, like that bothers me a little bit. However, though, like again, I want to give it a chance. I want to see that first trailer and be like, wow, this might be amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
They could do touch-ups to it, kind of like we were saying with Spider-Man, right? Like this just might be for lighting reference for VFX to come in. Hopefully not, but who knows with this. But you know what I mean? It could be anything.
Yeah.
We're just seeing, you know, some random guy taking a photo right now of this.
Literally.
So it's like,
Yeah.
you never know. But yeah, those are my final thoughts. How about
I
you?
would say I'm excited to see it in action for sure. As long as that movie is good, I can overlook any quarrels I have with the fitment of his suit. But I do like the general design of it. I hope he gets rid of the trunks at some point, whether it's at the end of this movie or maybe the next movie. I think Gunn of all people would be the one to like make, you know, an in-canon joke, or like someone calls him out for wearing underwear on his suit and then he decides to change it or something like that later.
True. Yeah.
But it remains to be seen. I'm still looking forward to it. Let us know your thoughts on this new James Gunn suit, if you're even willing to look at these set photos and spoil it a little bit for yourself. We will be doing a podcast soon. I know we missed a giant Xbox event. We've been quite busy.
Yeah. Life happens.
Life happens, but we're getting back on the train. Thank you for supporting us as always, and we will see you soon.
Appreciate you guys.